Friday, Friday, Friday. Awesome. All right. Thank you everyone for your patience. I'm a minute or two late going live here. Just, workout mornings. It's like you got to try to do the hair a little bit later, but it gets sorted. Mary, good morning. How are you? I love Fridays because we are talking all things manifestation, feminine energy, universal laws, like some of the good stuff. Kalua, good morning. So good to see you. As always, if you're joining on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, pop me a comment. Let me know you're here. And I am curious. So today we're going to get into what for me was first one of the most complicated universal laws and then became like my go-to for how I create quickly and easily what I want now, which is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. So it's such a mouthful, but it's a really, really important and helpful one to know as well. Before we get into that, though, for those of you who were here live yesterday, did you practice? Have we practiced tapping into how to trust yourself? Yeah, we talked about like noticing in your body when energy feels constricted versus expansive. Did anybody try that? Give me a heart or give me a yes. If you did, I'm really curious because usually when we learn these things for the first time, we then get opportunities to practice them pretty quickly. So I'm seeing a heart. So it looks, and I didn't see who that was from, but so we did beautiful. Wendy, good morning. Rita, good afternoon. I was just checking in with everybody from yesterday. And if you hear scratching, our new dog Mona's like scratching like crazy at the door right now. But I was checking in with everyone from yesterday on whether you got opportunities to practice what we talked about yesterday, which is trusting yourself and tapping into with these two options. Does this one feel expansive or does this one feel constrictive in my body? So let me know in the comments. But also with today, who here, so if you're here live, how many of you know this law and use it regularly? So we're talking about perpetual transmutation of energy. Are we familiar with this law? Is this a new law? Are we like, what is a universal law? I don't know. I know many of you personally who I see here live, so I know you at least know what universal laws are, but I'm curious, like, how much do we know this one? Give me a yes or a no in the comments. Mary's saying never heard of it. Okay, you're gonna love it. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. And I think there's a training too, Mary, and she sells All Access, where I did one on universal laws. I'm trying to remember. I think there's one in there where we do a deeper dive. Rita's saying yes. Wendy's saying a little. Okay, awesome. Michelle on Facebook, good morning. You're working on it. Okay, so let's talk about what it is, and then we'll talk about how to use it. Because just like with the law of gravity, there are laws that govern how things work on this planet. And when we can learn to work with the law instead of against the law, things get a lot easier. You will create quickly and more powerfully what you desire. And that's part of why I love knowing these, and I love you knowing these in conjunction with all the good sales strategy and tactics that we talk about here too, because when you can learn how to leverage the power of universal laws and have a rock solid sales strategy that it's like everything comes together so much faster, so much easier. That's when you have those quantum leaps. And that's when it feels fun and easy and delightful and joyful as well, which is the experience that I require now in my life and that I invite you to require as well. Sherry, good morning. I'm so glad to see you. So glad to see you. Landlord advocate. Is that Kim? Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, good to see you. So with that, so let's talk about this law and what it is. And as always, if you have questions, pop them in the comments. I'm here to coach you and help you on any questions you're bumping up against with this. So, knowing this is going to multiply your results. That's the most important thing. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy, once you can actually get those words out, I had to practice that a few times, means that energy is always moving into and out of form. Okay. So energy on everything's energy. We can maybe all be in agreement on that. Like if you look at a molecular level under a microscope, everything is moving. Even parts of your body are moving. This glass is moving. Everything is moving. It's all just energy. So, oh, Sam, good morning. So glad to have you. So, with this law, what it means is because everything is energy, energy is always moving into and out of form. I'll give you an example. So water if you look under molecular structure, it's like it's all moving, right? A bunch of molecules moving. It's just energy. Depending on the condition of the environment, water will change form. So if it's a certain temperature outside, like if it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it becomes ice or snow, depending on the conditions. Or if it's a different condition, it can become fog. So things are always moving into and out of form, depending on the condition of the environment. Let me know if this is making sense or if you have questions on any of this so far, but this is just science. Okay. So with your ideas, and I know so many of you here personally, like you're here to create more sales, you're here to create more abundance, you're here to create a better life for yourself, for your family. That vision of what you want to create right now, if it hasn't happened yet in your physical world yet, it's still real. It's just the condition is that it's in your mind. It's an idea, it's a vision. So an idea is a spiritual seed. Okay? So when it happens in your mind, that's where everything starts first. Everything in your life begins with a thought. Now, often because we're not aware of the fact that our thoughts are the thoughts that we focus on consistently and that we emotionalize are the things that move into physical form in our life. So we're always moving things from thought form into physical form. It's just oftentimes we're not aware that we are. Now you are if you weren't aware before, and now you can be more intentional about it. But we move things into form by thinking about them consistently and feeling and emotionalizing them as well. Oh, Jen, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. Good to see you. Sherry on Instagram is saying this totally makes sense. Good. So with your vision, this is part of why. And I know in my own life, when I've felt dips in energy, when I've gotten dejected, when I've felt disconnected from the dream, it's because I stopped thinking about my vision. Like I got so focused on outer circumstances and what was going on and trying to manage those that I stopped focusing on the inner, which was the vision of what I wanted to create in the future and connecting with that inside first. And so this is why we must learn that you are always, always, always creating first in your mind and then in your physical reality by your thoughts, by what you emotionalize, because again, thoughts create your emotions, which then determine your actions, which will create your reality. So it's actually very simple. So again, let me know if you have questions. Let me know if any of this doesn't make sense. Patty, good morning. Happy Friday. Sierra, happy Friday. Good morning. And so with that, again, let me know if we have questions or not. But so when you have your vision, this is part of why, when I'm working with clients and in my own life, like when I know it's time for another level, it's time to reconnect to that next level vision. And I'm actually always like thinking about vision and what's next. And that's such an important part of this, but we create our reality by what we're thinking about first. And so when you have that vision, that is that spiritual seed of what you want to create in your life. Now, how do you bring it into form? You got to think about what are the conditions that I would need to create in my life in order to change the form of this thing from an idea into my physical reality. And so because your vision is a spiritual seed, if you wanted to plant, let's say you wanted to plant an apple tree in your backyard and you wanted it to grow. Well, if you wanted it to grow, you wouldn't plant the seed and then, and water it a little bit and then go into panic about where it was and where the tree was. Like, why is this tree not here the next day? All right. Well, but how often do we do that with our vision and with what we want? Because we don't understand these laws. Does this make sense to you? So with your vision, because everything has so your idea is a spiritual seed. And because every seed has a gestation period, we have to learn once we have the vision for something. So let's say your vision is you want to have a $10,000 month, right? I don't know, or $100,000 month. I know my people here are kind of all over the map in terms of what we're wanting to create, but you have a vision for a certain amount of money in your life this month. When you plant that, that is now a spiritual seed. Now, the way that you bring it into physical form is by creating the right conditions for it to come into form. And one of the most important conditions is that you start to show up in alignment with that vision as if it has already happened. You have to start emotionalizing and matching that vision as if it was already done. So let's say that the vision is to have let's just again say $10,000 month this month, okay? For the version of you who already has that, how does she or he think? How does she or he feel? And then most importantly, what are the actions that that person takes to help bring that into form? But when I talk about the actions, it's not the busy action. It's not like, I know for myself, an indication if I'm getting out of alignment is I feel like I have to push something or like shove something. And that's your direct indication that you are not creating powerfully anymore. That's actually the time to step back. That's the time to take a nap. That's the time to go for a walk. That's the time to get away from it, okay? And come back when you know that in your thoughts and your emotions, you are now matching that reality again. Let me know if you all have questions on this, but we must, to bring the thing into form in our physical world, we must learn to match the person who already has it. And a key component of that is faith. Because when you plant the seed, if you immediately started ripping it up, like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, there's no way it could grow, right? There's no way it could grow because you're ripping it up. So you must learn to trust. You must learn to set back. You must learn how to leverage the power of the universe and the energy that creates worlds to help you and assist you, because it wants to. It's here to help you. It's all here to help you. But if you have doubt, if you have fear, you are literally ripping that seed out of the soil, and you're not going to get it. You're going to create whatever you think about most and whatever you emotionalize. Are you with me here? Do you have questions on this? Lee, oh my gosh, Lee, good morning. Lee believes better late than never. It is the perfect time for you right now, my friend. Right now is absolutely the perfect time. By the way, I got to send you a DM. I spoke with Priya this week. Phenomenal woman. And thank you for that intro. Mary's saying, so good. Love this seed visual. Beautiful. So here's what's fun is I love how one of the decisions that I've made is I'm just always supported by ideas, inspiration, resources, like with my messages for you in the morning, that I'm going to be assisted with them. So I have, I used to post these more on social. I don't really anymore, but I do this every morning. This is the secret. It's like the daily teachings, and you just it has a page for every day of the year. So it's really fun. But this morning, of course, the one that I pulled out was perfect for you today. So I want to read this to you and kind of go through it, because there's a 3-step process to turning your idea or your vision. Thank you for the hearts. Your idea or your vision into your physical reality. And so she says, to create, step 1 is you must ask. You must ask. And I want to invite you, when you think about asking, I want you to realize that you can have anything you want. And so often when we ask from a place of smallness, when we ask from a place of not enoughness, when we ask from a place of insecurity or uncertainty, you will always get what you ask for in this life. And the mistake that we make is asking from limited thinking, because you're the only one who's capping what's possible for you. You are the only one. And so you ask for what you want. Like, ask for what you actually want. This is the first step. Rita's saying we must match the person who already has it. Yes, 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 yes. That's how you bring it into form faster, is you match that person, because now you're creating the conditions where it can move into form in your life. But so she says, step 1 is ask. And she says, that means you get very, very clear about what you want by thinking it through completely. Well, I'll finish reading and then we'll talk about it. Remember that the moment you ask for what you want, it already exists in the spiritual world. Asking is the active step of creation. So there's an active and there's a passive to this. Okay? Just like for my ladies who have given birth, like there's some active parts and there's a lot of passive where it's like you're sitting back and you're letting that baby grow and you're not really doing that much. Now there is a time to push. Apologies to anyone who's like queasy with birthing analogies. It just is what it is. There is a time to push, but there's also a lot of sitting back. But this is the active part is you ask. You ask. And part of what's so important here, you get very, very clear about what you want. You must be crystal clear. If you waver, if you are not specific, I've told this story before because it makes me laugh, but it's true about one of my private coaching clients, and she shared this story of saying, like, asking one day in her meditation for more money. And she woke up the next morning and there's a bunch of dimes in her gutter outside her house. Like, that's how it works. If you ask for more money, you'll walk down the street and you'll find a nickel, and you technically got more money. Now, so this is why we must get very clear. What specifically do you want? And part of the messaging from earlier this week, which as I'm thinking about it, kind of ties in well, is getting clear on your desires. So looking at what you want from what do you desire? And not from like a grabby, like, I want this thing because I think it's going to make me feel better about myself. That's how I used to do it. And you won't really create powerfully then. That's why we want to learn to heal first and feel whole in the process, because then your desires are grounded. And then it's like, I want these things because I want to have fuller experience in my life. I want to have fuller expression in my life. Right now on my vision board, I'm such a like suburban mom now. Like, I really want an Airstream. I really want an Airstream. And I just have this vision of us as a family, like traveling around the country in this thing. And what do you know, this week I've got a couple pictures of an Airstream on my vision board. This week I go on the Airstream website. Y'all, they've got a 2022 Pottery Barn edition, which I'm so excited about this thing. I'm so excited. So I got very clear and specific, and I actually wrote that into my affirmations that I read every day about how my life is, that we own this 2022 limited edition Airstream. And then I went and I researched, okay, what kind of car do we need to pull this thing? Because our current car's not going to cut it. And so it's like, you need a 25 car people, help me out. You need a 2500 engine. So we're going to get some sort of white truck with a 2500 engine to pull this thing. And then I went to the Airstream dealer this week and just had fun, like looking around and just feeling into it and helping to create that, what does it feel like to not just have this thing in my mind, but to be in it? Because I knew that was going to help me more powerfully create it. So for any idea, like whatever you want, you must ask, and you must be very specific with it. Get very, very clear on what it is from that place of groundedness, right? From that place of joy, from that place of fun and expansion. Now, step 2, and this is where, and like, as always, if you have questions, pop them in the comments here. But step 2 is where we can get it really mucked up. I said mucked with an M, is you must believe. You must believe. That means you must know inside yourself that what you asked for is yours immediately. And this is what I love. It's done. It's yours immediately. And how would you show up, and how relaxed and at ease and calm? Thank you for the hearts. And how excited would you be if you knew it was yours, if you knew it was already done? What's the energy you would have? Would you be like panicking? Would you be freaking out? Would you be pushing? Would you be hustling? Would you be worried about how to quote unquote make it happen? No, that's the wrong energy. When you believe, you know inside yourself that it's yours immediately. And I would invite each of you to go back to the April series we did on how to release resistance to what you want. If you want to deep dive in, like, how does it work that when you ask, it's immediately done? Because it is. But she says, your belief provides the means for your desire to transform from the spiritual into the material world. Believing is the passive step of creation. So we've got active and which is a lot of controlling the mind and getting clear on what you want. And then belief is the passive. It's the walking around like it's already done, my friend, knowing that it is. Rita's saying this works. It really does. Yes. And from a woman who has manifested incredibly powerful things in her life in a short amount of time, you know it does. You know it does. It truly does. And it is, we get it all opposite. We think it has to be hard. We think that to create a lot of money, a lot of clients, a lot of opportunities, a beautiful life, that it's a slog and that someday you'll retire and it'll be easy. No, like create heaven on earth for yourself now. And when you do that, you align with the version of yourself who already has what you want, which actually allows it to come in for you. Is this making sense? Do we have questions on this? Is this making sense? Like, let me know, because this is so important. But that belief is, like, if you plant the seed and then you start ripping it up, like, what if it doesn't happen? And what if I'm unworthy and blah, 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 like all the low level, low vibe stuff, that's how you kill it. Like, you're killing it in that moment. And that's why, thank you for the hearts. That's why people create a vision board or set an intention and put a little bit of energy into it and then decide, oh, it's not for me and it doesn't happen. And then they take that as proof that this stuff doesn't work. No, you killed it. Like, you killed it in that moment. You have created everything in your life and you just killed it. And it's not like I did this so much, okay? It's not from a place of judgment on yourself. It's just, once you know this, then you can show up differently. Then you can say, well, let me just try. And if I'm not thrilled with how things are coming together in my life right now, what if I just suspended disbelief, which is what I had to do at the beginning until I had proof in my own life that it worked. Well, you know, I'm not loving how things are going in my life right now. So I don't think it could get worse. So let me just suspend disbelief and try and see what happens. And then when you suspend that disbelief and say, what if I did believe, right? What if I did? What would that look like? What would that feel like? Well, you know what? At the very least, your experience of yourself every day is going to be more fun, because the version of you who's excited about what's coming, the version of you who's thinking bigger, the version of you who's tapped into the energy that creates world is a way more fun version of you than the version of you that's riddled in seeds of doubt and disbelief. Okay. It's just more fun. Like, you got to live your day anyway. You got to live in your head anyway. That's where we live. That's how we experience everything. You might as well let it be fun, right? Are you with me here? And then step 3 is to receive. So it's ask, believe, receive. He says, if you believe you have already received, she says, if you believe you have already received, then you will receive. And how powerful is that? You must believe it first. It's like Wayne Dyer. I love this quote. You will see it when you believe it. And I'm here to tell you, I have had things that defy logic happen to me since I started showing up this way. Like, things that people would say are not possible, things that I don't even feel like I could talk about here yet publicly, because it's like, how is this stuff happening? Things that defy quote unquote laws of how our world, like but it's because I believe it's possible now. Okay. You must believe you have already received it. And she says, receiving is the third step in creating, and it is the result of you bringing the active and passive together, which forms a perfect creation. And so in the receiving part too, so this is where, when you are, so you've asked, you've gotten very clear about what you want, which is that planting that spiritual seed. Now you believe. So now you're like, I know it's got to come as long as I stay in alignment with the version of me who already has it. So I think thoughts that are congruent with it. I feel feelings that are congruent with it. And here's the piece though, you must take aligned action. So you must notice, as you're emotionalizing this thing and living into this vision and getting excited about it, what are the downloads that you get? What are the ideas that you get? What are the inspirations that you get? So there is action involved, but it's fun. It's like, let me just try it and see. Like, maybe you get an inspiration to launch a new program, or to reach out to a past client, or to call someone, or pick up a book. Like, just trust it. Just trust it, because you're being guided and led. So you must act, but you got to notice how you feel while you act. When we're acting from that place of fun, of inspiration, of joy, of excitement, of knowing it's already done, that's when we create the quantum leap. That's when it happens quickly and powerfully and in ways that will blow you away, that you could not have expected. And here's, she just wraps it up with this, which I love. because it kind of speaks to polarity. Creation is identical to a battery. Positive is active, negative is passive. Connect the two perfectly, and you have power. It's another universal law, the law of polarity. Everything has an opposite. The earth has a north pole and a south pole. Batteries have a north and a positive and a negative. Like, it's just how things work. Like, if you look into this, you'll see that it's true. So creation is like that, right? There's an active and a passive part. But I think how we've been taught is we forget that we have help. We forget that we have aid, and we go all active, 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 push, push, push. And then we riddle that, because that's not how you create powerfully. We create doubt, we create fear, we create uncertainty. And then we wonder why it's not happening. Well, it can't, because you haven't created the conditions for it to move into form. Okay. So do we have questions? I know we're close to the top of the hour. That's what I got for you today. Do we have questions on this? Good morning, LinkedIn user. I don't see who you are, but you're saying the power of positive thinking. Yes, 100%. Do we have questions on this? Do we have comments on this? Do we have ahas? Jay, good morning. Glad to see you. Are we good? Are we excited? So if you were going to sum this up, get very clear. So ask, believe, receive. Get very clear on what you want. Like, not what do you think you should want, not what did your parents want for you, not what do you think is going to make you worthy, but what do you want? Sierra, you're so welcome. I love seeing you here every morning. Then believe. You believe, like, step back, trust, start to practice living into that now. How does that feel? What's that experience of it like when you've signed that client, when you've, taken on that mega deal, when you've healed that health condition? Like, what is that version of you? And start showing up as him or her. And then the final step is to receive. And you must believe you have already received in order to receive. And when you do this powerfully, the experience of the creating of it will be so joyful, so fun, so exciting, that when it happens in your life, it's like, is it awesome? Yes, it's awesome. And you're like, and it's fun because it's more, oh my gosh, this works. That's more it than anything to me. And the physical experience, of course, is fun. But you've had so much fun along the way that you've enjoyed the journey. And that's what's beautiful about this. Like, you don't have to slog through the day. You get to enjoy every single day and have fun and know that when you show up that way, that you're because you're more of a match for the future you want to create. It must come to you, and it must come in a way that it will probably surprise you, that will delight you, that will dazzle you. And it's a fun journey. And life really is the journey, right? Like, that's what it is. Not to be too like postcardy, but it is. So you might as well enjoy it. All right. So I think we're complete for today. Thank you, my dear friends. It's been beautiful spending time with you this morning. And I've been sharing this week, like, send me a DM if you want to get more details on our Sedona retreat, which is happening in December. For my private intensives this fall, Asheville is sold out now, but I do have Lake Tahoe available, which is September. So if you want to join me in Lake Tahoe and have a VIP day where we just focus on creating your most powerful Q4, creating your, just mapping out your business plan, your mindset, removing blocks, like any of it. If you just want to have me pouring into you for a day, send me a DM, and would be more than happy to see if Lake Tahoe is a good fit. So, all right, my friends, wishing you a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of your Friday. So good to spend time with you. And I will look forward to seeing you bright and early on Monday. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.